Is Wednesday, 9:15 Pacific, 12:15 Eastern, and it's Linda and Elisa here with you for the second in our weekly live stream series where we're talking about all things related to workplace well-being, basically how to be happier and healthier and feel more fulfilled at work. And today we are talking about the topic of self-worth. And I want to say thank you to Nancy for requesting that topic. It's a very important topic. And we hope to share some things today that will hopefully inspire you and encourage you if you do suffer from low self-worth. So, Elisa, hi, good to see you again.
Hello. Yes, nice to see you too, Linda. I'm so happy to be here again. The week
Yes,
went by really fast, and these
it did.
15 minutes, let's take advantage because they fly.
Yes, yes, they certainly do. Okay, so self-worth. Sum that up for us. What do you have to say about self-worth?
Yes. Well, first of all, as I was doing some reading about this topic, I found a very interesting statistic, and I didn't think it would be so high. But according to research from LinkedIn, 85% of people find it hard to showcase their full potential due to lack of self-worth and
Yeah.
confidence. So that's a really high number. So what happens? What is the other 15% doing? Because I like to get there or get you there.
Right, right. Well,
Right?
and speaking as someone who I did used to have incredibly low self-worth, self-confidence. I mean, that's how I grew up. I thought I had nothing of value to offer. And I was terrified all the time at work that I wouldn't do a good job, that people would discover that I didn't really know what I was doing. So the biggest takeaway I want people to know is that I am completely different now from who I was then. So yes, it is possible to change it. Sometimes people think it isn't possible, but it absolutely is, and it takes work. And we're hopefully going to share some strategies with you today that will help you get there. But I don't know about you, Alyssa, but I was thinking about this and I thought, well, there are several ways that this shows up for people. So when you have self-worth, you can either go sort of within yourself and withdraw, be hesitant to speak up, that kind of thing. That was certainly my experience. That's how I was. Another way is that you put on this facade so that what people see is not the what you're really feeling. So for example, I know someone I worked with who she appeared to be the life and soul of the party. She was always laughing, making jokes, always deflecting attention from herself, and it was all to cover up this low sense of self-worth that she had. And I think another way it can show up is those people who put on the facade of they think they have to attack first before anyone criticizes them. So this can result in sort of bullying behavior, being mean to other people in an attempt to, I think, make other people look bad and themselves look a bit better. But that all comes from a sort of sense of insecurity. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yes, and that makes two of us because I also recognize that I suffer from low self-worth, low self-esteem, a lot of insecurities growing up. And I think mostly I wanted to fit in. That was one of the things that I wanted to get. Like, especially as a teenager, you want to, be part of a team, of a certain group. And I felt like I never fitted in. And I actually um, had more boyfriends than girlfriends because I thought, oh, I don't want to be involved with all the drama with girls and like I don't, I'm not fitting in and all of that. So I guess that somehow helped me cope with it. But yes, like it was hard for me to raise my hand in class or in even in college and at work, like I would do my work, but I would be more quiet. I didn't want to really stand out. And if somebody would say something nice about me, I would kind of like, oh no, 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 don't say it. Like I will feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But yeah, with it's possible, like you said, there are solutions, and even if you're feeling this way and you feel like you have no value to add, like, there is nothing positive, there is, because I think all of us are unique and everybody else is taken. And I think there is a quote like that. It says, just be you. You are unique. Everybody else is taken. So why be somebody else?
That's true, and like you, all I ever wanted to do was fit in and be like everybody else. And of course, I wasn't. I very clearly wasn't like everybody else. And what I know now, of course, is that you celebrate yourself for who you are and stop comparing yourself to other people. I mean, I think that's one of the first steps, because the more you compare yourself to others and you look at other people and think, well, why can't I be like that? Why can't I fit in? Just like other people do. That's one of the worst things, I think, for your confidence and sense of self value, because when you compare yourself with others, you'll always find something that other people do differently, or that you perceive as being better than you.
Yes, and I think that comes with self-accepting ourselves the way we are. And sometimes it's hard because there are so many standards, there are so many role models that are good, but some not so good. So I think it's that really internal work of recognizing who we are and how much we value we have
Mm-hmm.
to really have that self-love. I think it starts there. One of the things that made me really appreciate myself more was actually discovering that I'm a highly sensitive person. And I know you work with highly sensitive personalities. And just a few years ago, I discovered that. But before, I didn't know why I would behave or react to certain things, why I would get more tired than other people. And to me, that was actually a weakness. And now it's the total opposite. I see it as a strength. Like I'm very good at connecting with people. I'm very good at reading people. So it's that shift of valuing who I am. And yes, I do have limitations, but I'm not the only one, and I'm not perfect by no means either.
Right. I think you're so right. The first step to changing anything really is self awareness. And you have to know yourself, really learn who you are, what's important to you, what do you love to do, what drains you, what energizes you, and really completely accept yourself for who you are. And the people I work with, it's always amazing because they're so, as they tell me their stories, I see they're so amazingly talented and gifted and have so much great experience, and they don't see it. And so I think one of the first steps, well, first is self awareness, but I think another thing is if you're having trouble really seeing your value or your worth, talk to those people who are supportive around you, and those people who say, oh my gosh, you're so good at this and you're really good at that, or I wish I could do this as well as you do. Pay attention to that, because very often we dismiss those things because it might be something that comes easily to you, so you don't necessarily see it as a gift or a talent, but really it is. So pay attention to when people pay you compliments like that, because that's something that you have that is of value that others appreciate.
It is, and I know that sometimes it's hard, and yes, we take the compliments, but if somebody says something that doesn't click or something that was somehow negative, then that's what stands out, and it's like, oh, that's what we need to change. And it's normal. It's That actually has a term. It's negativity bias, and that's what the brain does. The brain goes back to finding a threat, something negative, something in a way to protect us. But it's not everything, and it's important to have awareness again of that, and to really put everything on a scale. Like, is this really like so important that it's taking away from the other list of things that I'm so good at?
Yeah.
So really celebrating your successes, even if they are very small, the feedback that people give you, and you don't have to believe everything all the time. That also, I think it's important to have some kind of filter
Yeah.
and really believe in yourself. And I know sometimes it's hard, especially at the beginning when we're doing this work and we're more vulnerable. But it's like strengthening a muscle, I think, you know?
Yes, it is, and it's such an important thing to do because it affects everything you do. If you have low self worth, although I will say I've encountered people sometimes who have low sense of value and self worth in all aspects of life, but I also met people who are very very confident at work and really recognize their value at work, but in their personal life they tend to struggle a little bit more socially and don't have confidence there. I've also seen it the other way around, where people are very confident and have a sense of themselves in personal situations, but feel that imposter syndrome at work. So it's really a case of, again, self-awareness, knowing you, knowing where and how this might show up for you and how it's affecting you, because it's definitely something you will want to change. And the good news is that you can absolutely change it. It really takes knowing yourself and then learning how to value yourself. And that, I think you do it slowly, a little bit at a time. It's not going to happen overnight. But it's definitely something I think we all need to pay attention to and work on if it's an issue for you.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. And it's important to be aware of those situations where you feel like you were saying, oh, in my personal life, I do feel comfortable. I do behave this way, but at my job, it's different. Okay. So what's happening in your job? What's probably like, be aware of what could be triggering certain behaviors in you, because these are very important clues to start really noticing, okay, what's happening here? Is there something I can do about it? Is there something that I need to change? How can I make it more comfortable for me?
Yeah, those are
Yeah.
great questions, and it's noticing where, like I said, where this shows up for you, and then I love the self-inquiry, asking yourself questions like that. It's really really helpful. And I think sometimes it comes down to, if you feel confident in one area and not in another, sometimes it can come down to an issue of how much in control you feel. Sometimes people feel I'm in a lot more control in my work, and confident in that because it's something I can control more. And then in my personal life, I'm subject to the opinions and expectations of other people, and I'm not in control of that. And so I think letting go of this idea that you have to try and control your experiences too is an important one,
Yes, for sure.
because we can't control everything. You certainly can't
We
control
can
other people.
control. We want to, of course,
Yes.
we want to. That's human nature. But there is so little we can control.
Yes, so little we can control. And oh my
Yes.
goodness, our 15 minutes I think is just about up. It is up.
Yes.
15 minutes goes by very quickly. But, I hope that we've shared something that is, that maybe sparks some a different way of thinking, maybe a little mindset shift for anyone who either is experiencing an issue with self-worth, or if they know someone who is, and wondering why they're behaving in the way they're behaving. I think just having this understanding really helps you to do something with it or to move beyond it.
Yes.
And that's what we all want to do.
Yes, I
And
think recognizing that self-talk it's also very important. That's
yes,
one of the things. Like if I could give three tips today, what would you give? Like Linda, what would be those three tips
oh, I think the
to
first
recognize?
is really paying attention, to self-awareness, paying attention to
Yes.
yourself, noticing when you are being critical to yourself, noticing when you feel self-doubt, noticing and paying attention to when you feel confident, when you don't feel confident, what is the conversation that goes on in your head, all of those things. It's really learning who you are, the first step, and then accepting who you are and not comparing yourself with anybody else. It doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. It's important that
Yeah,
you
I
know
think those two
yourself.
things are key here to start
Yeah.
doing this work.
Yes. Yes. Most definitely. So if we can leave you with anything, I think it would be that
Yes.
learn who you are, really at the deepest levels, and
Mhm.
learn to accept that. So, well, thank you, Elisa. This is a
Thank you,
conversation
Linda.
that could go on for a long time, I
Yes.
know. And I believe next week we are talking about taking things personally, or how to not take things so personally. So that's another great conversation, I know. So thank you for joining us. If you have questions, topics you'd like us to discuss, then please let us know, and I'll put a link to a form where you can put in your ideas and submit them to us. And we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, and see you next week, Alyssa. Okay, bye
See
bye.
you. Bye.